Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're going to keep talking through your immune system and start talking through these lines of defense and what they do and how they function. So let's just start at that first line, which is your barriers. And those barriers can be physical, or they can be chemical. And the whole purpose to these barriers is really just to prevent the pathogen from entering your body in the first place. These are definitely non-specific defenses because they aren't going to distinguish one pathogen from the next. But we're looking at things like your mucous membranes and things that they're producing, your skin as well, being really one of your largest organs. Most kids don't think about it as an organ unless maybe you've been through an anat and phys course. Um, but it is, it's one of the biggest organs in your body, and a big portion of what its job does is simply to get rid of um, or prevent pathogens from entering in the first place. So when we look at those types, when we're looking at things that are mechanical, for example, the outer layer of your skin composed of dead cells, and so you're constantly shedding those cells, um, whether it's from rubbing against your clothes or running your hands under water to wash. Um, and so that flaking off of dead cells takes the bacteria or the virus or whatever pathogen might be laying there along with it. Your mucous membranes just create a sticky barrier in general, and then it will work in conjunction with some chemical barriers to just prevent the bacteria from getting any further deeper into your body. If it's something you swallow, you do have cilia that will trap particles in your pharynx, which is part of your windpipe. And we talk about what they call a ciliary escalator, and all of those cilia beat up, and the purpose of that is to get any sort of particles that are getting trapped in that cilia and the sort of mucus that they produce and pushing them back up into your esophagus and getting you to swallow it. So hopefully your stomach acids and things like that are capable of taking care of that pathogen rather than letting it get into your lungs. And that's a big problem for people who are chronic smokers because that smoking over many, many years breaks down the ability for those cilia to continue doing their job. They basically get paralyzed, get destroyed. And so it's much easier for chronic smokers to end up with lung infections as a result because their body isn't capable of getting rid of and trapping that stuff and getting it out. And so it ends up in their lung tissue as a result. Chemicals, sweat and oil glands in and of themselves will produce and secrete acids and oils that will arrest the growth of most microbes. They don't like to be outside of certain conditions, so the oils might sort of suffocate them. Acids just mess with the pH of their environment, and they can only grow in certain environments because think about the fact that they're made of proteins, so if we get them in the wrong pH, it can denature those proteins. Sweat can also contain these lysozymes, and these will break down the cell walls of a lot of bacteria. All right, so they're enzymes. Your tears and your saliva also contain those lysozymes, so same idea that it'll break down proteins and cell walls and things like that of certain pathogens. And then your stomach acids in and of themselves, other enzymes that are existing in your GI tract will also then destroy a lot of microbes by breaking down certain components of their structure so that they can't replicate. So this is just kind of a nice uh, summary table of some of that. So we mentioned things like the mucous membranes. You've also got hairs in your nose, which do a similar idea to trapping and filtering things in your nasal passage. Urine itself normally is slightly acidic so that it can cleanse your urinary tract and hopefully prevent things from growing there. Same thing in the vaginal tract in the female reproductive system. So all sorts of things that are going on there to try and provide inhospitable environments for these bacteria to grow in, or just trap them in general and keep them from getting to where we don't want